Welcome. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. And I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in to try to figure out some more about your dog. Because something I want to talk about today that I want to just get somebody thinking in a way of being able to figure out how to be able to help you out with some things that I say are simple. And that's how I've come to realize to be able to get help with my dogs, is to keep it simple. And there's a lot of different techniques out here that are telling you to do this and do this and do this and do that. And I'm constantly saying just don't do nothing. So today I kind of want to just give a world show example of what I mean by when I say do nothing with your dog. This here is my Dalmatian Ophi, and I do nothing. I put this leash. I even use the one around my waist because I don't know, it's just easy. I don't have to hold on to it. And I have a bungee leash. I love these bungee leashes. I don't know what it is because she hits the end of it and it's like just it's just a pleasant feeling. We're not jerking and pulling back and forth with each other. And I put this harness on this dog and I just have her stay with me. So day one when I got her, I had zero expectations. I just want her to walk with me. I just want her to be with me. I don't care how she does it. She's gonna do whatever she wants, but I'm walking. So if she stops, I'm walking. And if she's pulling this way, I'm walking this way. I'm just walking, doing what I'm doing day after day after day after day. I'm not worried about trying to do anything other than that. I'm not saying good girl to her. I'm not touching her. I'm not interacting with her. I'm not even saying, come on. I'm not saying good. I'm not saying bad. I'm not doing anything. I'm not throwing treats. I'm not giving toys. I'm just going for a walk. And I'm going for a walk day after day after day after day after day. And then I just can see that she starts to just understand what the heck's going on here. And she's like, maybe I should just follow along and walk with this guy. He seems to be knowing where all the good stuff is. I follow him when we go out here and we go over there. We get back home. We get food. We get some snacks sometimes. And it's just like, if I follow this person, I'm probably going to be led to something great. That's the thing that I want to get into the dog's brain. And this is something that I think is just getting confusing, where we're using words and signals. And I'm guilty of this myself sometimes, that I realize even just today that I'm saying too many words too many times. Because that's the biggest thing is when you start to use too much, that's when you start to add I'm going to say it's confusion, as opposed to just putting I don't want to say a high expectation, but it is what it is. A high expectation up front of saying absolutely nothing and doing absolutely nothing. And just that high expectation of putting them on leash and just having them stay with you. And a high expectation of having them have to figure out what's going on without me having to say a single word next to them. But them just paying attention to me and learning me, not learning and paying attention to a single word that I say. Because this is where I'm going to say it sounds cool in theory of say words and say this and say uh-uhs and say shh and all these sounds to get the dog to stop doing some things. It sounds cool in theory, but at the end of the day, you're on a high level of management, because every single little thing you have to keep saying it to. Hey, stop that. Hey, no. Hey, don't do it. Hey, get over here. Hey, stop this. Hey, and that's the point where for me, I don't know how else to say it, but nagging. That's where I'm going to say is nagging is micromanaging, when you're just having to constantly keep saying things over and over and over, as opposed to just saying, this is what I want, and that's the expectation. So the expectation for this dog is to just stay with me. I'm not demanding that she does anything other than stay with me. She has that boundary is what I'm putting on her. I don't care if she sits, I don't care if she stands, I don't care if she lays down. I don't care what she does as long as she respects that boundary I put on her of stay with me. And every single time that she hits the end of that leash, I'm not going to say a single thing. I'm going to allow the leash and her and me through that leash communicate to her what it is that I'm looking for. I don't want to add anything extra. So that's what makes it so that the dog starts to become in tune with you. It's not sitting here in a situation, the dog is like waiting for the next thing to say. It's just with you. Now, if you want some sports stuff and you're doing things out here with trying to do all these fancy obedience things, of course you want your dog to be able to listen to you. But still, at the end of the day, with me in mind, when I want a perfect heel, I want a perfect sit, I want a perfect down, I just want to simply, this may sound wild, but this is how crazy I go with my dogs, because I just do extra stuff and I like to play with them and I like to just test things out. I simply want to use my eyes and look at them and tell them what I want. I can look at my Johnny and I can give him that certain look. I could give him a look of, that's what I want. And he's like, okay, I'll sit. And I can give him a real good look and a lean of, I want you to down. That's what I want. And it comes down to being very, very simple. But the main thing is, if you want your dog to be able to do something as simple as what this dog is even currently doing right this second, have no expectations on trying to make them do it. They will just do it. They will just make it happen. And that's why for me, I have to talk back again about some stuff that I was even doing, realizing that I was ruining my relationship with my dog, because I was forcing something that she was like, dude, I'll do it anyways. You don't need to tell me, dictate it to me. I'm going to do it regardless. If you stand in place, I'm going to lay down, because I got nothing else to do. You told me I can't go anywhere. She has that boundary that I don't know what this leash is, 2 meters. So it's a little over 6 feet long. And the back of that harness is a little bit. So she's got like 6.5 feet she can go from me. But once she realizes that I'm not praising her, I'm not touching her, I'm not giving her treats, I'm not giving her nothing. She's just like, okay, then what are we gonna do? Because she stops with all that extra thinking. Once she realizes only how far she can go, she stops thinking, oh, I can smell that over there. I want to go to that. Oh, I smell that. I want to go. Oh, go. Their brains are going just, oh my goodness, there's everything out here. And then I'm calming all that down by limiting their choices. And then I'm limiting their choices to the point that I want you to now make a decision what you want to do. Because she can keep fighting the leash to try to pull somewhere. She's going to realize that I'm just a statue standing here. Kahi, I'm just a statue standing here. And I'm not going anywhere. So she just stops that foolishness without me having to say anything to her, but just allow the leash to be able to, Kahi, I just allow the leash to be able to communicate effectively what I want from her. And that's something that is very, very simple, but it's hard for us as humans to just, I don't want to use that word, just to be quiet, just to say nothing, do nothing, and just have the dog with you. Give that dog that expectation of, I got you on this leash, and this is where I want you to be. And day after day after day after week after week after week after month after month, I'm at the point now, I think we're 8-9 weeks into me having this dog. 9 weeks, so officially 2 months that I've been taking her on walks on this harness with this setup. I don't even touch the leash. I just walk her. After 2 months of just doing this every single day, I'm starting to see that she's starting to just get better and better and better. Like right now, she's pulling into it. She's like, oh, how far can I go? What can I do? And right now, I don't care. I don't care that she's doing that, because I know at one point, one day, it's all just going to come back. It's all going to relax. It's all going to be all right. That I don't need to like force it and rush it right now. And the more that I force and rush it, the more that I have to stay on top of it more and more and more and more and more. And that's what I just see what's going on with everybody. Your dog may seem like it performs pretty good, but you have to like be all on top of them all the time, or just over and over and over, as opposed to just standing and being, standing and hanging out, standing and putting the expectation of realizing of how intelligent, but yet not at the same time these dogs are. That they're intelligent enough to realize that we don't need to give them constant reminders. We just put the leash on and just, this is what I want. Simple. It's done. It's over with. I don't want to have to incorporate extra words and extra sounds and extra things, because now you're just doing extra. Now the dog is needing and requiring that extra. And then that extra, the sounds out of our mouths, which are not natural to dogs, our movement is what's natural to dogs, and our leashes to basically, I'm going to say, contain them, is natural to dogs. These things are very, very natural. Now, a leash is not natural to a wolf. A leash is not natural to a coyote. It's very foreign. So if you try to put a leash on a coyote, you about to get bit. Like, that dog is going to come back at you on some serious harm type stuff. And that's something that is different with the dogs, because the dogs give us a completely different sense here. The dogs give us something that is just absolutely in a very interesting way, that they calm down when we put the leash on. They don't get to the point that they start to get all hostile and all wild and all savage and all crazy. They start to relax. And the leash, that's because we've been doing this for hundreds and thousands of years now with these dogs, and we've been breeding them, getting them closer and closer to our homes, and getting them closer and closer to us. So it's something that is very natural. What is unnatural is us adding extra, as opposed to just relying upon what we already have that's natural to the dogs. The dogs want to please us, but they don't know how to, because we're just like doing all this stuff to them, as opposed to just hanging out and just relaxing and just chilling and just being and just hanging out with them, man. And stop all the trickery and stop all the extraness. The dog is going to understand you. It's going to get in tune with you. It's going to see you. It's going to respect you. It's going to trust you. When you start to add the extra, the dog is now listening for like, so if the dog basically, this is the parts where I don't like going, and I used to do stuff like this, but not so much. This is where when you just allow the dog to be free. And this is what majority of us do inside of our households. We allow the dog to just be free. So when the dog doesn't come to you when you tell it to come to you, now you have to do something that, again, I don't care if it's a treat, and especially if you're putting a leash on the dog and you're going to get the dog and telling it to come back to you. You are now putting in corrections. You are now disciplining the dog, as opposed to, because the dog doesn't know. It's not clear. What is clear is just let's hook up. Let's stay together. That's clear. But what's not clear is when they're gone and you're like, come here, and the dog hears that like, what does that mean? What are you even talking about, man? Like, what is that? Then the dog, you go get the dog and do something physical to the dog that the dog is unsure of, and then you put the dog into confusion, and then you're wondering why you're having issues with the dog. As opposed to having a dog stay with you. When the dog goes to the end of the leash, it's going to figure out all on its own, something's going on here. Why can't I go? And then it's going to come back to you. And then when it comes back to you, say, hey, nothing. That's just the expectation that I'm looking for. But as soon as you give them a treat, they're gonna like stand next to you. This is another part that it looks good. You give them the treats, they look good. But then as soon as the treats are gone, then the dog is gone. You want the dog to be there just because. Just there's nothing in it for it, but just hanging out. Just because. That's what dogs are. The dog doesn't need a video game right now to keep itself busy. The dog doesn't need a puzzle to do something. The dog is just going to hang out and be in the comfort and the relaxation of you. And it's going to be doing what it's supposed to be doing and living in its prime of life, of hanging out and being around you. And the dog is going to do absolutely incredible things. But as soon as you start doing this extra stuff, that's where you're running into confusion. That's where the dog is unsure. That's why for me, I was doing a little too much too fast with her, just letting her off leash and do what she do. And she got a little bad habits. Where my shepherd just, he don't chase, he used to, of course, but he don't chase no nothing. He don't chase no deer. He don't, well, you all tangled up. He don't chase no rabbits. He don't chase no squirrels. He don't chase no nothing. He just hang out. Girl, get up. You sitting on my leash. You be all right. He don't chase no nothing. And she's got it in her that she did it a few times. So unfortunately for her, for the next probably year, she's going to be hooked up to me to understand what the rules are. And this is something that I don't want to rush, because the faster you get something out of a dog, the faster they're going to forget about it and or start to try to do something else. Just let it happen. And that's one thing that I'm going to have to start, like a YouTube short series, motivational series of just, let's get out and do something. Who cares what somebody thinks? Who cares what somebody's looking at you and saying? Who cares all that? Let's just get out there and make some stuff happen. The first entire year that I had this shepherd, I didn't take him to no busy places. I took him to the places that I purposely knew I would see maybe 1 or 2 people, let alone a dog at all. And we would just go for a walk. We would walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. We would just go out. And then after month of doing that, he started to just give me that respect and give me that trust, as opposed to me trying to demand it on him. And it's the same thing I'm doing with this Dalmatian. I'm slow and steady. We're going to get there. But I take her in more busier places because I hook these guys up. Hey, we're not playing like that. Okay, get out of here. We're not playing. We always on work out here. We play at the house. so that's my only strict rule of being out here. I don't need them thinking we could just go into a rampage. These dogs love, they play that chase and they do what they do, but they can do that at home. They cannot do that out here. Because I don't ever want in their brains of we can do this chase and run and play and do that. No, I don't want you taking off at nothing. And if I allow them to do that in a random, who knows, or I come here very often, it's a nice place, but in a random place, then they're going to just have it in their brain. But I'll take her in high distraction areas today because she has him. And I hooked them together. And then I even double hooked them together. They got leashes that hook up between their collars together. So she's starting to learn from him. So he starts to deviate, saying, no, we don't go towards people. She goes with them. And he's like, okay, we don't go after those squirrels. And she goes with them. But if I had her all by herself, I would not be taking her where I'm just knowing that 100 and 200 and 300 people are going to be. Some of these trails on these weekends that I go to, there's hundreds of people, hundreds of dogs. It's flooded. There's bikes, there's rollerblades, there's skateboards, there's motorized things. There's all kinds of stuff going on. If you're my dog is reactive, don't ever even think about taking your dog there at first. Get your dog to trust you. Get your dog to understand you by putting the dog on the leash and looking at you, and putting the dog on the leash and having it just stay with you. Putting a dog on a leash and learn what its boundaries are with saying nothing to the dog. Nothing to the dog. Just do absolutely nothing. And just do what you're seeing me do. I don't know how to make it more clear, but I'm going to continuously keep on trying to just do what you're seeing me do right now. I did put hands on her for a second because I wanted to break that up there for a moment. And if you're in that scenario, you got another dog that's pestering your dog, push that other dog and get that dog the heck out of there. But as far as me praising her for what she's doing right now, as far as me giving her pets for what she's doing right now, as far as me giving her treats right now for what she's doing right now, as far as me playing and giving her toy sessions right now to make her stay here, no, we're doing nothing. And you're going to watch. And this is something that I like this dog because she's fairly young, but she's not young. She's like 9. She's about to be 10 months old. 10 April. She's about to be 10 months old in a couple of days here. And it's a beautiful thing because she came from somewhere else that already had a whole set of habits and a whole set of being. So she's not that 8-week-old dog that I got that I'm just perfectly doing everything. But at the end of the day, there is no perfect scenario. She already had baggage. That's the best way of putting it. And she already had that in her. And I'm trying to change that out of her to show her who I am. And I can't rush that. And I can't fight that. And when you rush it, that's where we go towards the manipulation. That's where we go for the line. And that's where the treats and all that is manipulation. That's where the toys and the petting and all the affection is manipulation. As opposed to just putting the expectation out there that I'm fine, I'm neutral, there's nothing for you to have to worry about with me. And she'll figure that out day by day. Because day one, of course, having her and standing out here and doing what I'm doing, she's at the end of the leash. Then she realized, oh, this guy, he hasn't done anything to me. I can come closer to him. I can come closer to him. And now today, she stays next to me. She still is a little weary. She still is like, I'm not sure. And I see it in her personally. She's not like 100% in tune, comfortable with me. Like my Border Collie is comfortable with me. He's in tune. This Shepherd is comfortable. He's in tune with me. He when he's around me, he's like, I'm safe. I'm good to go. But she's still not 100% there. And since she has that little bit of nervousness, if I start petting her, if I start giving her treats, that's going to convince her to continuously wonder what's going on, be in that suspicious stance, as opposed to just trusting me. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to do anything bad to you. I'm not going to damage you. I'm not going to make you do something you don't want to do. And that's something that I started doing with her, unfortunately. And for me, I just got to do some stuff. I got to try some things. I'm just learning here. And I don't have this, everything is perfect and everything is dead set. But I'm learning in a sense of, I saw how chaotic my dogs used to be, and going to people and trying to help you people with seeing how chaotic your dogs also are. And then me saying to myself, you know, I fixed this one area, but I got a problem over here. And then I was noticing I was doing the same thing with everyone else with the techniques that I was doing. And I was like, there's got to be something else going on here. And that's where I found to stand here and just do nothing. Thank you.